Okay, so we're gonna resurrect this. In case you didn't know, this was a draft and work in progress, MR that is introducing a component to render a set of form fields, which we introduced a reusable component doing a lot of work, and this MR authored by the venerable Lee Ticket. Having this form component that is doing Apollo stuff and rendering fields dynamically, and it's really useful, but is doing a lot. And so we tried to, this was already an iteration towards a further goal. So we're trying to now iterate maybe over this component and clean up maybe the responsibilities into reusable bits. Because what if we were in, how could we reuse this if we weren't using Apollo and maybe things like that? So the idea here is this is the presentation responsibility component of presenting these list of form fields and managing the interactions there. So looking at this component that it's inspired from, some of the props are fields. There's a handful of props about the query that will actually submit when this thing gets submitted. That's not going to be relevant to our presentation only component. It'll be kind of relevant, but not what we're going to be using. There's the model, which is, I guess, these are the value of the fields. That's right, Lee? Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, so existing model was that, sorry, Paul?
Yep.
Yeah, so that was the idea. Again, we might decide we need more abstraction, but the idea is you can use this for create, in which case I guess you don't pass an existing model, or you can use it as an update form, in which case, yeah, you would pass it a model.
Okay. So what we found, what I found to be helpful was a component that took in, let me go to here. Component that took in fields, model, and looks like we need to figure out whether we should show the validations or not. And fields had their own like validation logic, it sounded like. And that was it. So really excited about this component because we do forms all the time. Maybe now we can be way more data driven with it. Should be really cool. So some stories of it. Do I have interesting stories of this? Maybe, but let me show you the screenshot of this. Oh yeah, here's
remind us how awesome it is.
Oh yeah, so there's the fields. There's 3 fields, and I've specified the types of the fields, which isn't being included in the props. And that value is getting emitted as the model is changing for these fields. And so, yeah, this does not include like the submit button. But that validation state would get passed down of like if we need to show field level validation, like if I hit submit and then I need to show the field level validation or something like that. So yeah, it seemed helpful. And I think we have already places where this could encapsulate a lot of boilerplate with creating forms. And that's the goal. Does that make sense? Does anyone have any questions about the scope of this component?
I think we'll have to make a few decisions impending any minute now, right, around how far we go with the scope of it.
Yeah.
Less is more, right?
Yes. I think yeah, as soon as I saw failing tests, I probably was like, that's it. I'm not doing any more of this. I'm joking. Red pipelines, man, that's the obstacle that will that's the instant I stop contributing. I'm joking. All right. I don't know. Oh, we have to update these. That's not a big deal. So I guess the first thing to do, because this is old, is to rebase it, right?
Yep.
So let's do that. I have a couple of commits. I think I'm gonna squash them first, and then I'll rebase.
Sounds good.
So let's do that. This is a GitLab UI thing. You can't spell GitLab UI without you and I. All right.
Tell me you haven't used that before.
I haven't. That was trying out my new material.
Is this a side hustle of yours at the weekends, Paul?
Yeah, it's like a inspirational stand-up comedy thing. Yeah. All right.
Impressive.
No, that would be so bad. It would go badly. All right, I've checked this out, but we are behind. Let's squash our commits. So I'm gonna rebase off of this one that's before. I don't auto squash isn't gonna do anything. I don't even do that. All right, here we go. I guess. All right, I'm gonna actually give this the good commit message. We are adding GL form fields component. This component encapsulates presentational responsibility for presenting a list of fields which can be validated and managing the value emitting from fields. I guess, right? That's about the responsibility of it. Okay. C for original MR inspiring. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right, we are squashed. We will rebase. Man. Oh no, merge conflicts. This is the other point why I stopped contributing. All right.
That seems really weird, right? Because this is an isolated new component. So
It does. Looks like we removed index. Like this is old though. Like we removed index.js. So that's interesting. Where did we move it to? We must have moved it to source.
no, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, so that's fine. We will just I don't need any of this then. So do we still have it? It's just empty. Wow, that's interesting. So index.js is still in the repo, it's just empty,
Weird.
right? That is weird, right? I'm not.
Is it one of these? I forget what you call them, but that gets loaded when you hit a certain page, so you need a file, even if it's.
I think it was an accident. I think it was actually an accident.
Oh.
Yeah, that's got to be an accident. All right. I'm really fighting the urge to create an MR to remove this. What do you think? Should we just remove it? We're here. We should just remove
That
it.
empty file?
Yeah, right?
Well, I was going to say, like me or Yannick, I'm sure can spin one up while you're driving, you know?
Oh, yeah. Then I'm a maintainer. I can just merge it. So let's.
Hadn't even thought about that bit. Yeah, but absolutely.
This is how we get the work done.
Are you going for it, Lee, or should I take over?
Yeah, absolutely. I get brownie points from the hackathon as well. So
yeah, go for it.
And I'm gonna nominate you for MVP.
Well, this might be my last opportunity, you know. So
yeah. This whole file must be not a thing anymore. This components documentation. Yeah, I think that's not a thing. So we want to delete it. Okay. Cool. So but I should add to our real index, I should add, what was I? This
What's the
form fields.
the kind of, what do we call it? The conventional commit syntax for this repo. It's a little bit different, right? I'd do something like chore in brackets, removing redundant file, or
Yes. What is there's a really good
oh, is it on the homepage in the README?
yes, we can read the docs. The conventional comments are going to be in the contributing docs. The conventional commits, commit message conventions and rules. Yes, this is a good grab bag of,
Awesome.
I would call this a chore.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool, thank you.
Yep. All right, we got this. We're exporting it. Oh yeah, look, these don't need to be in sources anymore. That's cool. Great. Woohoo. Okay. Let's go ahead and continue with the rebase.
Mhm.
Whoa, I was like, let's continue with the rebase. Man, that took a while. That was frustrating. All right. Push. I'm gonna have to move our heads. Close with lease. Sorry, I left it sitting for so long, Lee. That's
no, don't be silly. Like, it's something that I think everyone will benefit from when we do get round to it. But
I'm not a fan of these pre-push commit things.
For seasoned experts like you, Paul, maybe not so much, but I think they're lifesavers because there's nothing worse than pushing up on the main GitLab project and then you get a failure on like Prettier or ESLint or RubuCop or something like that, and it's like, okay, I've just wasted 3 hours of pipeline minutes.
This is true.
Because I forgot to remove a trailing white space.
Yep. No. And that's all good. It does throw me off my groove. Like, get in a groove.
So we've got some awesome team members who are working on improving the push time, though. I don't know if you noticed on the main repo how bad it is these days.
Yeah.
Like
Push time, really?
Yeah, like probably takes like 30 seconds, maybe roughly. I might have over or under egged that, but just to push like a commit on the main GitLab repo. Apparently, it's just because
a lot of internal hooks that run.
Exactly.
Like,
it's a Git problem, not an us problem.
Yeah.
But Yannick, if yours is a lot quicker than that, then we need to know your secret.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think my secret is multitasking. I feel like I just enter Git push and then move to something else. I don't know if I
swigging your Mai Tai whilst you're waiting for the. I say
that might be it.
Yeah, I find myself the multitasking is
see that was not. Oh, that's the GitLab UI repo. Okay,
yes.
Sorry.
The multitasking is a double-edged sword for me because I will just keep jumping tasks and just so forget about the original task I was doing until it's too late.
Absolutely, and waiting time doesn't make it easier.
All right, these are in now. That's great. Oh, we don't even need this one. We're not even doing any, so we probably don't need that. All right, let's see if Storybook works. So what we need to do is write tests for this thing. And that's fun. I love writing tests. Already? let's run this thing. We're looking at form fields. Look at form fields. Look at those form fields. So here's the array of I'm not good at naming things. My even number field is named event. Should be named even. Sorry. The reason I did that is because if this was 5, and I'm saying, hey, we need to validate this thing, I would expect this. Oh no. What did I do? Gosh. All right. The validation may not be working on it, which is why it's in a funky mode. So let's take a look at what is going on when we do this validation thing. So to validate the field, create element. Oh my gosh, is this a render function? Oh, it is. Yes. Oh man, that's probably not a good idea. Why did I decide to do that?
Power, I think. I don't know if that's the right term, but I think you probably looked at my form component and saw some of the stuff we were having to do because of, I don't know if I'd call them language limitations or.
Right. It is because doing interesting stuff with slots here, I think, too. Maybe that's not good. Maybe this isn't a good component. I don't know. Maybe it is. Let me see if I made a note about it. So let me see how I'm actually planning on using this thing in the stories. All right, and let's name this even. Ha ha ha. Why make this a render component? So we want to, going back to fields here.
Yep.
I'm able to specify some input attributes of what type of input this will be. So like by default, we're just going to render an input for things. Or we could provide a special slot for an input that will use these scoped variables. You know?
Yeah.
So this is a custom thing. Oh, there we go. It was only doing it on blur. That's interesting. I see. All right. Boom. Nice. Yes. Oh, great. Yeah, look at that. That's so great. Okay. All right, Yannick, Lee / Vitaly. I see you're here, but I don't know if you're here. How do you all feel about this component?
You're inadvertently implicitly asking us if we would like to change it to a normal one, not a render function.
Well, it's quite possible like render function is the simplest way to do this behavior. I want to make sure we get the interface right. Like, then the implementation is fine. But like the interface being, here's how we use it. We pass in fields and we pass in our model.
So the
model
thing that
fields.
it's probably not answering the question that you've asked, but the thing that I've got in the back of my head that I can't see just from this is, I don't know when, well, I do know when we wrote this in January, but how the form component has subsequently evolved. So now we've got GL inputs, we've got GL drop. I'm not sure if it's drop down, but a drop down, and we've got checkbox. So that's one of the things that would be really nice if we could work on this, so that yes, you can provide a template, a name slot, because sometimes we'll want a color picker, sometimes we'll want, some weird and wonderful stuff.
Yep.
But that's one of the things that would be nice to either today or in a future iteration or at some point ensure that we can handle some of that stuff. The other thing is, I've never written a render function, and I might say that it would take me longer to interpret, understand, and potentially, if I was to raise an MR, to add more functionality to this component in the future.
Yep.
That being said, I think when we sat together and worked through it, it kind of made sense, and I'm sure that
Yeah. No, it's not. Yeah, that is a little concerning. I'm not sure why I made it a render function. Let's try to make it not a render function. Do you think that's a good task for us to do right now? Let's try to not.
I mean, if nothing else, that's gonna
at least then I know why.
That'll bring up that you might come face to face with, that's why we did it.
Yes, that'll be worth answering. I have no idea why I did. Wow, and I don't even. Okay, all right. B for field and fields.
Can we have a pairing session where we pair and watch a pairing session from time past?
That's the scary thing too, is I realize, oh wait, we paired on this. There's
and the exact same MR.
Yeah, here's
so I presume when we
pairing session. Oh, Yannick, you were here too. Doesn't this all ring a bell, Yannick? Yannick is like, nope.
Yeah, no, don't make me a liar.
I've slept since then. It's normally my.
All right, so render fields. We were creating, so all of these are going to be form groups, no matter what. But the field input is going to be different based on whether we have a slot for it and other things, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So all of these are going to be form groups. GL form group key. I don't remember. Oh gosh. Okay. Where's the form group? Field name. And those were the things I was passing through to it. So let me actually just copy this down real fast. All right. So key is going to be field name. Label we're passing is going to be field label or field name. State invalid feedback. What is this? How do I want to do this? All right, I want to create a computed for this. So like we try not to for one, I use this value twice in bindings. So if I just call this method twice and the template, that's not great. I think we're going to want to compute it for fields. That's going to be like, I can't, this is word that eludes me. Processed fields or fields to render. Let's call it fields to render. I like that. Okay. I can't think of a better thing. Computed. Fields to render. Stop me if I'm doing something really bad. Please, 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 please.
Looking good so far.
Have you all watched Home Alone? Is Home Alone something that they watch?
Oh, yeah.
Been a while, yeah.
Do you know when Kevin is like, he's all home, he's all alone. He's like, I'm eating junk food and watching garbage on television. You better come out and stop me. I think that all the time. Like, I'm writing render functions. You better come out and stop me. Yeah. Okay. So what's cool now that we have these fields to render, I can actually do this calculation that I was doing for the label. I can actually do that here, which is great. So I can say label is going to be field.label or field.name. And then I'm going to call, oh yeah, and then we can just do this thing that we were doing here. We can do that here. Yeah, so this is going to be invalid feedback. And yeah, and I'll call that form group state. Yeah. Form group state is invalid feedback. False. No. I guess that's important. All right. So instead of looping over, oh gosh, just chill out. Okay. We'll loop over fields to render. And then this be just label state. This is going to be field dot form group state. An invalid and unalive. Feedback is field dot invalid feedback. And that's it. Great. Yeah, just chill out. Okay. Render field input. All right, so this is what the child would be. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this because we just moved this over. Render field input. Yes. So if we have a scope slot for this thing, then we're gonna render it the scope slot way.
We don't need a render function to be able to do this, do we?
I don't think so.
No, I don't actually.
Yeah.
I think we can have some kind of VF, right?
Yep. So what I'm gonna do is this. This is what I love about like view model stuff. Like I love it when all my template is logicless, and I've done all of this like in these computed.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do has scoped slot. Yeah, this dot get scope slot for input field. Great. Nice. So now inside of here, I can do if that has scope slot. How do I do this? How do you do this stuff?
What are you trying to achieve?
The else. That's right.
before.
Yeah, I used v else if for the first time yesterday.
Oh, nice. So let's pretend that we don't have the scope slot, and let's go ahead and move over the render field input default thing. So this is geoform input. Oh gosh, this is why. What was this fancy thing I was doing? Ah. Oh no.
Rebind. Okay.
What was this thing? Returns a function. Oh my gosh.
I don't fully understand the comment.
I don't understand.
What does it say? Returns a function. Given binary
Oh
truth.
gosh. It is without fail. I don't think there's a single line of code I've written that I don't regret like 3 years. It's like months to 3 years later, I'm just piling on the regrets. What is going on here? Returns a
It's
function.
only been 7 months though, this time.
I know. This is one of my worst regret feelings. With so this is either some sort of like render function hack for me to get the render function stuff to work, which I'm not sure why I decided to do it, or I had to do the render function for this to work, which I'm not sure what this is doing. So merge the render. Yes, this got to be render object stuff. Gosh, why did I decide to do a render function? This is not needed. Ah,
Okay.
yes. Ah.
Good.
Oh, yeah. No, this is because why did I do a render function? This, like how the template works where you can just do vbind and it will go to attributes, props, it doesn't matter, it'll just go there. Like that's great. Well, with render functions, you have to know, is it going to props or attributes? So this is me trying to say, behave like a template. Which begs the question, why didn't I make this a template in the first?
Right. Okay.
So yeah, no, this is, oh gosh, I'm sorry.
So this is actually going to make it easier rather than harder. Good.
Yes.
Good.
I am so sorry, everybody.
No need to
I
apologize.
thought I was being so smart. Render field. Where was that vbind thing? Yes. So that's all I'm trying to do. It's so, gosh, this is so embarrassing. It is just me trying to do with render functions this. So all right, so that's great. That works. We'll put in the value, but it looks like we somehow do this calculation to get the value. Yes, because we have to get that from the model and stuff. So we'll leave that calculation there, and I will just throw that into fields to render. This sounds good. Field. No, get value.
Get value, yeah.
Field. Okay. So then I can bind all those things. I can pass in field.value. Yep, and so then I have these on inputs and on blurs. Input, I'm gonna call field input my field. But I'd also like to get the value. Is that event? Is that how that works? I think that's how it works. Is that how it works?
I think that's how it works.
Okay, then blur on field blur. Great. I can get rid of this function. We have moved it over. Whew. Okay. I'm gonna get rid of this one. Okay, so the next thing is rendering the field input from the slot. Yeah, this is the next one, and then we should be good to go. And nice, we don't need this crazy thing. Okay. Oh man.
Merge render object. Okay.
Look at all that pretty stuff. I'm so sorry.
That's a lot of helpers, yeah.
That was wow, it's so much smaller now. All right. So now we can get the scope slot for the input. And then we pass these things into it. This value input and blur thing. So here I am. How do I do slot? But the name is dynamic. How does that happen again?
Let me see if I can find this out. Colin something, wasn't that the...
Oh, is it? Is that what it's like? I could do this thing?
Mm.
I'm not doing this right. Something like this. Is that how you do it?
Do we need the outside double quotes if we're working with backticks?
Do I need the what?
The double quotes, like name equals double quotes, because we have the backticks in there.
Yes.
Okay. Let's give it a shot. Let's see.
Yes, for sure. And then, oh yeah, and then we just bind to it this stuff. And so we'll move this. I'm going to move this actually to yeah. So let me move value over to let me move this over to const has scope slots equals up. So I think I'm going to say value. And then I don't know if you all like this. Scoped slot attributes. If we do not have a scope slot, this is null, else something like this. I don't know if we like that. Maybe we don't. What do you think?
I'm distracted, Paul, because I'm trying to work out if you normally use dark mode.
I do. Well, you know what though? I actually kind of stopped doing it for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah. I don't know what happened. All right. What do you think of this line? Is this line okay?
Scope slot attributes.
Looks good to me.
Okay.
I wonder whether that's a scenario where maybe not, but whether you either have would it be a method or a computed specifically for that you reference in here? Because you're starting to get down to a level where you've got nested within nested, and I think it's all right, but
I think it's a good idea though. Let's yeah, let me do this. Yeah, let me have get scoped. Let me have a method for get scope slot name. I'm actually just going to return the name for this thing, like we were doing up there. Based on the field, here's that. And then let me have a method for get scope slot attributes. Yes, 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 yes. I like it. Oh,
Are you thinking method call within a computer? Is that all cool? Or I think that's cool.
Well, no, yeah,
that's
totally
cool.
fine. That is totally fine. I was thinking value we've already called. I don't want to necessarily call it again. Like that's a bit of a waste. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna pass it in. That should be fine. I'm not gonna worry about it. Return. So if
Have you come to like the Ruby syntax, Paul?
I do
you
like
were gonna write return blah if
I think you're right. Yeah.
Oh, return unless.
Yeah. I do think I like Ruby. I do like it. How does this work again?
Front end blasphemy, isn't it, Paul?
Probably is. All right. So then if, oh gosh, did I mess something up? No, I didn't. I don't need to cast it to Boolean, but if not has scope slot return no, otherwise return all of our friends. I don't need to cast a Boolean. That's not needed at all. I think that's how it works. Yeah, so up here, I'll just say this dot get scope slot attributes field. Boom. Cool. Invalid feedback. We got value, scope slot attributes. Oh, but I said I was going to pass value in because we've already fetched the value. I don't feel great about calling it again. Technically, we could, I'm going to leave comments for myself. We could call get value here, but that's sort of a waste since in the context we've already called this. Let's just receive value. Okay, great. So now vif field scope slot atchers. Yeah, I can call that method here if we want to, or we could put it into the thing if we really wanted to. However we want to do it, it's not a big deal. Field scope slot adders. That's it. That's it. I think this is it. I'm pretty sure.
That'd be awesome if it is.
Don't need this one. Hooray. Oh, so much simpler. So much simpler. Okay. What is final value is not used, is it? Oh, it is used. I'm gonna have to figure out what the point of that is. Fields will have name. This is riddled with incomplete thoughts. Alrighty.
Only so much you can do in an hour, right?
Look at that.
Wow.
It's working.
Nice.
Super nice.
That field's required. That field's got to be even. It's doing the validation stuff. So
wow, yeah, awesome.
Great.
That was a nice cleanup.
Yeah. Wow.
Now we can all understand it.
Yeah. Why in the world did I do that? Oh my gosh. That's gonna be so much easier to test. Like, I mean, it's the same thing. But for some reason, having this template is really nice at knowing like what you need to test. Like I usually just look at the template to know this is what I need to test. When you have a render function, it's like, whoa, I guess I got to test everything. Cool. So yeah, now we'll write the tests for this. Let me see what is happening with when the field inputs. Yeah, so here's the other dealio.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We transformed because we might want to apply some kind of crazy multiply it by this or convert it to a GraphQL ID or do something, I guess.
So is there an example of us using this transform?
A good question.
as
Yes.
number?
Yes.
Oh, yes. We are like transforming these. These should be numbers. Can we do something crazy? Let's do something crazy. Transform. That's not how you write JavaScript. X. How do you do two uppercase? Is that a thing? Two uppercase? Is that a thing?
Oh, in JavaScript, give me a sec. I think it might just be upper or something, but give me a second.
Sure, this sounds good to me.
No, you're right. To uppercase.
All right. We won't make this required, but we'll transform this to uppercase. All right. Oh,
You got two fields with the same name. That's
do I really? No.
bar.
Oh, you're right. Do you think that's it? Bar? We'll call it
Black sheep.
black sheep.
No, you'll get Geekbot will tell you off for that, Paul.
Oh, okay.
Sheep will
It's
do
really
it.
cool. There's a really cool rap group called Black Sheep. They did Flavor of the Month is one of their more popular songs back in the day. So we'll call it
I mean, you could call the previous one required and this one uppercase or upper or something to.
oh gosh.
No, that did not help.
X is undefined. Oh yes. Okay. Now everyone's good. All right. All right. So if I'm doing here test and here I am and I start, that's kind of cool. Do we think-
Wait. So hang on a minute. You didn't type that in uppercase.
No.
It actually changed that.
I,
So it's not just changing the emitted output. It's actually changing what you put in there.
Do we
That's
like
pretty
that?
awesome.
do we think that's cool?
I initially, yes. I don't know if it's gonna come around and bite me at a later stage, but
So it is nice, like these can be numbers. Like that's nice. Right?
I like the uppercase. It's uppercase for the user as well. Like
Exactly.
if I thinking about not so much a design perspectives, but rather UX, if the interface you're working with will transform into uppercase, I think it's just the right thing to show this. So if you're dealing with some case issues, at least that will be an indicator that this doesn't matter.
yeah, I'm trying to think if there's a scenario where I suppose validation is completely separate, isn't it? I was thinking if there was anything where we wanted to wait, we didn't want to intercept it too early, almost,
So,
because
yeah, that's where I would say that is not the responsibility of this component. This component is responsible for presentation.
yeah,
Fair point. Yeah.
This is all about probably transforming what we present, and what we transform, we're going to present. So if we have something we want to do behind the scenes,
yeah, makes sense.
to happen somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
After all, we're passing the value back, so it can be whatever we want to do with it outside of this component. We can do with it.
Yeah. But man, look at that. We got to have, this is like somewhat of like a custom component behavior.
It's really cool. Really cool.
That was just, hey, I just added this field. Here we go. And this is it. That's kind of really nice. And when I start validating, this doesn't have any validation, but that does, all of that's pretty nice. So those UX needs that we have out of the box of needing revalidation and stuff like that, this is all way more data driven, which is exciting. So cool. I guess I will commit this, push it up, and I'll
Remind me what were the failures we were seeing before we started working on.
There were some test failures, and like the visual regression wasn't updating. It was trying to take snapshots of these stories, and so it didn't.
Okay.
So we'll update it to do that. I just amended it without adding the changes. That happens a lot.
We've all been there.
Cool. All right. Come on. Oh man. Do you see how committing's taking so long? That's because of these hooks, man. Just stop. Stop with the software. I don't need more.
It's
My
enough.
computer doesn't need to be doing so much. Ah,
See, it saved you, Paul. Take back what
Oh, I
you
don't wanna
said.
why isn't it? It's supposed to be doing this on
On save.
So I must not have that set up for this project, which is weird.
Yeah, I've had a lot of pain with that recently, actually, working on different projects and
On save, yeah.
yeah, even to a point actually where at the moment when I save a JavaScript or Vue file in the GitLab project, I think it's using a completely different formatter to prettier. So it then I need to prettier right to fix it. So I need to figure out what's going on there.
Yeah. All right, this is it. Cool. Well, thank you all for your help. Thanks. I think this will be much easier.
Thanks for pushing it forward, Paul. Appreciate it.
Well, I think it'll be much
Absolutely.
easier to push forward now that it's not so complex. So, wow, it's be a lot easier to push forward. We'll see. The one thing to be thinking about, I'd love to hear your async thoughts on this, Yannick and Lee, and I'll ping you later. Is like we usually don't like passing functions down as props, but that's usually for like when there's an event, when something really just needs it to be an event. I don't know if that reasoning applies here. So, like these transform functions and validation functions, I don't know if
I would argue no, because I can't think of any other option to validate anything other than in a function.
Yeah, you don't
So-
want to admit something, have to do the validation in the parent component, then try and send something back. Like
but
that seems way overcomplicated.
yeah,
and a function really seems straightforward here. So
yeah, since this is since the function is like tied to the field and this is all about presenting fields, I feel like that makes sense. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess we'll see what another reviewer or maintainer that's kind of not as close to it as we are thinks.
Yeah. Yannick, even though he was in the last pairing session, he seems like he's divorced himself quite significantly from this component. So
definitely did. Thanks for the
So
refresh.
do you
that's for
think
sure.
to get this sort of over the line, it needs a little bit of work on testing, and that's kind of
I think it's just writing the test for it. And then
I think we iterate, right? So we don't try and do drop downs and checkboxes and stuff yet, but we add that fairly imminently afterwards.
but what's cool is because we have the scope slots, we could, but then we could also figure out a way to like, okay, this is happening all the time. Maybe there's a type we can pass in or something like that. So
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's some that you'll get to a point where you're like, you know what, color picker, we use it in 2 or 3 places, but maybe not enough to warrant that being part of the component.
yeah. All right, I'll let you all go.
Awesome.
See ya.
Have a great day, guys. See you
Bye.
later.
See you
Bye.
soon, folks.